Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with yet another video of the Arizona Sports Fan. Thank you so very much for coming back, guys. I really do appreciate it. Now, today, what I wanted to go ahead and talk about is my top 5 Arizona Cardinal quarterbacks. There's not very much out there, but let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome back, guys. Now, like I mentioned before in my intro, I wanted to go ahead and talk about my top 5 Arizona Cardinal quarterbacks. But before we go ahead and get started, if you're new, please consider subscribing, guys. Well, we have a lot of great things happening for this channel here coming up in the future. Arizona Cardinals schedule coming up. We're going to be doing predictions. Just overall, we have a very good community here. Definitely consider subscribing. If you're interested in, anything Arizona Cardinals, make sure you go ahead and hit that bell just so you're aware the next video drops. I wanted to go ahead and mention, guys, there was talks about maybe going ahead and starting a online connected franchise mode for the Arizona Sports Fan. That's still in the works. Definitely put it in the comments below. If you have a PS4, tell me what you would like to be on the comments. The Arizona Cardinals is already taken. I'm going to go ahead and take us to the Super Bowl, so don't worry about them. But if there's another team you want to go ahead and get, you can drop it on the comments below. There's also the Fantasy Football League that's already filled up. We're going to be doing the draft order probably about mid-May. The draft maybe around June or even July. So I'll definitely go ahead and keep you guys posted about all that. But that's enough for the announcements. Jump to the topic. Guys, so now on to the topic of choice. My number 5 quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. Now keep in mind here, this is pretty much kind of a wash pick. Number 5 is going to be none other than Josh Rosen. He was picked 10th overall in the 2018 draft. When we had him, there was just so much hype around the UCLA quarterback being like the most accurate quarterback out there. There was a lot of excitement for the Arizona Cardinals fans finally getting a quarterback in the first round in such a long time. There was so much hype. Unfortunately, everybody knows how his career ended up. He ended up getting traded to the Miami Dolphins, which didn't really have a great career there either. There are even talks of they're moving on from Josh Rosen because they went ahead and picked up another quarterback this last draft. So I feel like Josh Rosen was just kind of an accumulation of bad places that he was placed in. Do I feel like he's going to have a good career with the NFL? He could definitely possibly still have a really good career with the NFL, just depending on if there's a team that's willing to develop Josh Rosen and how he should be developed. A team maybe that has a really good quarterback currently right now that they're willing to go ahead and keep him as a backup for the time being. That there's definitely a lot of different stuff out there. Probably asking yourself, why Josh Rosen? What's going on? I mean, let's really think about it here, guys. The options are either going to be Derek Anderson, Max Hall, Matt Leinart, even John Skelton. I mean, my options were not very good to begin with. Now, if you guys were watching Arizona Cardinals football during that tenure, when those quarterbacks were actually playing, those were some very, very dark times watching the Arizona Cardinals play. And if you made it through that time, you're the real MVP. Now, on to my 4th option here. I want to go ahead and say none other than Jake Plummer. Jake Plummer was with the Arizona Cardinals back in '97. He played until 2002. Now, he went ahead and finished his career with the Denver Broncos. I believe he was with them for about 4 years. So he gave the Arizona Cardinals 6 years. Now, I feel like Jake Plummer was kind of ahead of his time. He was very close to the way Steve Young used to play, just kind of like a scrambler, used to make plays, just an overall really good player. He was really unpredictable, to be honest with you. His stats weren't really that magnificent, but he got the job done when it was needed. Now, back then, the Arizona Cardinals were known as the Cardiac Cards, and Jake Plummer was probably the good main reasons why they were called the Cardiac Cards, because Jake Plummer used to just make things kind of happen out of nowhere. Jake Plummer was really, really awesome, but like I mentioned, his stats were not really that great. He ended up his career stats with 29,253 passing yards, 161 touchdowns, and 161 interceptions. Now, those numbers right there, like I mentioned before, it doesn't scream oh my God, he's magnificent, but he got the job done when it was needed. He was kind of erratic, basically the prototype of saying, a scrambler quarterback. He got the job done, but he also did make a lot of mistakes. As you can tell by the stats there, his touchdowns match what his interception rate was. So that's kind of a cause for concern, especially a quarterback for the future. But Jake Plummer was definitely one of those quarterbacks here that if you didn't get a chance to watch, I recommend watching some highlights on YouTube. Really exciting player to watch. Jake Plummer is going to be my number 4. For my number 3 pick here, now this is probably going to be debatable for a lot of different people. Now keep in mind, this is going to be based on I guess your age and how you grew up watching these players, my number 3 spot is going to be none other than Kyler Murray. Murray was chosen first overall in the 2019 draft. As of right now, he really hasn't been with the Cardinals that long. I can definitely see him getting slotted to the number 2 spot. As of right now, I'm going to go ahead and keep him on my number 3 spot. Kyler Murray, what we have seen so far in his first year is none other than really exciting football. There's just so much hope, so much excitement that's going on within the Arizona Cardinals this coming 2020 season. And I think a good majority of the excitement is coming because Kyler Murray is our quarterback of the future from here on out. He was coming into the draft. There was multiple different speculations out there if he's going to play football, if he's going to play baseball, can we depend on him? Is he tall enough? All those different questions that are asked, prototypical quarterbacks. But because Kyler Murray went ahead and got drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, he went ahead and shut a lot of that down. Overall baller, he's a really, really good player. Yeah, he might not be the tallest quarterback out there, but there's quarterbacks like Russell Wilson that a lot of people don't like to talk about because they're pretty much the same height. They're probably talking centimeters of difference in height in that way, and we all respect Russell Wilson. So I don't know why a lot of people are giving a lot of flack to Kyler Murray because of his height. First year of being a rookie, he ended up winning the Rookie of the Year award, which that alone is really exciting for the Arizona Cardinal fans. We ended up the season 5-10-1, which is not really an exciting, type of season, but he definitely elevated the offense to what we went ahead and got from the Josh Rosen and Steve Wilkes era, which would pretty much only lasted a year. Murray has a very, very promising future, and it seems like the general manager, Steve Keim, and the front office is doing anything they possibly can to see if we can get into a win-now mode. Head and got DeAndre Hopkins from that Texans trade, so it seems like we're in a win-now mode, which honestly right now, that's the best time to be watching Arizona football. Kyler Murray is going to be my number 3 spot. My number 2 spot here, I want to go ahead and say Carson Palmer. Now, Carson Palmer got drafted by the Bengals back in 2004. He went ahead and gave them 8 years of his career. Palmer was known as one of those players that can definitely go ahead and take you to the playoffs, but cannot win a playoff game, unfortunately. After the Bengals, he went ahead and gave 2 years to at that point, they were known as the Oakland Raiders. He went ahead and gave him 2 years, which is going to be 2011 to 2012. I believe that was the time frame that he was with them. He didn't really have a great career with them either. He was kind of known as a first round pick that is good enough. Like, he's a good quarterback, but he's not great. He's good enough. Steve Keim ended up getting him from the Oakland Raiders with a 6th round pick. Now, this was one of those time signs that everybody was really excited about. Steve Keim getting really good players, that much high draft picks. So we were really excited to see Carson Palmer come to the Arizona Cardinals here. Now, as of right now, when Carson Palmer first came here, his first year with the Arizona Cardinals wasn't that spectacular, so there wasn't really excitement happening with Carson Palmer. Back in 2013 to 2017, we went ahead and seen 2 different playoff pushes from Carson Palmer, which would definitely brought some excitement to the Arizona Cardinals fan base. Win 3 Pro Bowlers, not with the Arizona Cardinals, but just through his stint of his career entirely. He's also part of the Arizona Cardinals Ring of Honor, and he did go ahead and take us to 2 playoffs. There was 1 year in 2014 that he wasn't able to partake in the wild card game when we played against the Carolina Panthers. We went ahead and had a backup playing for him. I believe his name was Ryan Lindley, if I'm not mistaken here. He did a pretty decent job, but he didn't do enough to go ahead and make us get past that wild card spot. But I mean, if you really think about it, if we did get past that wild card spot, we probably would have gotten taken out on the next round anyways. 2015, he came back stronger and ended up taking us back to the playoffs again. It was really exciting for the Arizona Cardinal fans, back-to-back playoff years. So now we all thought, we got Carson Palmer back. This is all we needed. Everything was super good. Everything was looking good. Beating the Green Bay Packers in such a magnificent way. When we went ahead and got to the conference championship against the Carolina Panthers again, we got pretty much destroyed. It was an obliteration. I remember watching that game with my brother. We had our jerseys on. We were super excited. Hopefully going to the Super Bowl and playing the Broncos, but honestly, it was a shutdown. We didn't show up. It was a really terrible game. Carson Palmer definitely went ahead and gave us some good times here for the Arizona Cardinals, so that's why I want to put him in my number 2 spot. Last but definitely not least, I want to go ahead and say for my number 1 spot, I'm going to have to say Kurt Warner. Like, there's nothing out there that I can even say it's better than Kurt Warner. He took us to the Super Bowl 2008 season, but we played it in 2009. It was such a really good game. Those were one of those games where you can always look back and say, man, that game was a really, really good Super Bowl. It might have been the fact that because we were in it, we were a lot more involved, we were a lot more attentive, and to really thinking exactly what was going on and what could have been accomplished. But taking it back a little bit, Warner didn't really have a great start to his NFL career here. He ended up getting picked up by the Green Bay Packers. I believe it was 1997 as an undrafted free agent, playing AFL, which is basically arena football, for about a year or two, I believe, and then ended up signing with the St. Louis Rams at that point. Now, Kurt Warner did win a Super Bowl with the St. Louis Rams. Awesome for him. Super, super great. Ended up getting let go from the St. Louis Rams, and he got picked up by the Giants. Backup for Eli Manning when he was playing for the Giants. The Arizona Cardinals went ahead and got Kurt Warner back in 2005. He went ahead and took us to 2 playoffs, 2008 and as well as 2009. Warner and pretty much Larry Fitzgerald taking this team on his back, doing things that we're still talking about today. Remember when Larry Fitzgerald caught that slant pass and basically broke the safeties and just kind of went straight through it, everybody following him. It was an amazing sight to see. At that point, there was so much hype, so much excitement in my body, thinking that we were going to win the Super Bowl. And of course, that didn't end up happening. What ended up happening was Roethlisberger ended up doing what he does best, bringing his team all the way to the end zone, throwing a touchdown pass to Santonio Holmes. Now, to the day here, I'm still thinking that Santonio Holmes did not put his 2 feet in the end zone. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and say that because I'm an Arizona Cardinal fan, because he took us to the Super Bowl, but the next year after, in 2009, he went ahead and took us to the playoffs. Now, we didn't make it past the New Orleans Saints, but the New Orleans Saints ended up winning the Super Bowl that year, so we're kind of going against a team that was obviously better than us. And kind of to recap here, number 5, Josh Rosen, number 4, Jake Plummer, number 3, Kyler Murray, number 2, Carson Palmer, and number 1, Kurt Warner. Guys, let me know what you guys think and what your list is in the comments below. I know it's kind of hard to find the top 5 because a lot of people say we don't really have top 5 quarterbacks out there, but definitely put it in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think of my list. Drop a like. If you're new, please consider subscribing. For this episode, guys, thank you so much. I'm out.